warm welcome back, everyone. It is great to have you with us again today. And I'm Schaida. I'm here with Segolin and Sylvia.
Hello.
And I'll be your host. Today, we're diving into a deeply important topic, a very sensitive one that you all might resonate with, and that is unemployment. So, we're talking about how we feel when we get the news that our contract is ending, the worries about the future ahead, and how we navigate or should navigate unemployment in a way that can keep us in the right track, directing us closer to greater opportunities. So, ladies, times to be heard. Have you ever been unemployed? And how do you cope with it?
I have been unemployed for a really short time. I was really lucky to find something really quickly. But I was still a bit stressed because it's when we moved to Ireland. And so we needed a job to find like an apartment and to rent. So we needed to have a revenue. So I was a bit stressed, but I got really lucky and I found a job really quickly.
That's great for you, really.
Yeah.
That's really great for you. Okay. And you, Sylvia, do you relate with her?
Well, as you know, yeah, no, I've been unemployed several times, but I can call them like also career transition or life transitions in this sense, because it's each time that I found a new opportunity, it made me develop new skills. So, and the longest time that I've been unemployed, I was basically interviewing, just sending applications, and then even though I was good enough to, reach the final stage, I was not given the contract. So that was frustrating, indeed. But eventually, I got to develop new skills that I've never tried on a next time, and then eventually led me to feeling more aligned with where I wanted to be, slowly but surely.
Well, I can totally relate. Well, in my case, I got unemployed a few times. And the thing is that studying international relations and working for international organizations led me to a very non-linear career path, and it's quite rare to secure a long-term contract right away in my field. So how do I cope with it? I keep doing the hard work. I mean, I find ways to continue developing my skills, whether by studying a new language or learning how to use a new tool, considering that I'm international relations communicator. There's so many tools in the field of communications that you can keep, searching for and learning. While also I look for better opportunities. And when I was younger, the funny fact is that I had a much greater so this had a much greater impact on me, and I would feel anxious perhaps and even worried. I think it's normal. But nowadays I've just learned to trust the process more, and I love it. So keeping a steady routine is also key to not freaking out, whether it's doing your yoga classes or going to the gym or keeping up with your hobbies or just taking some time to rest. I think all of it combined helps me navigate periods of unemployment. But, guys, how was it for you when you got the news that your experience was about to end?
So for me, to be honest, it depended on each time, because sometimes it was me that wanted this career transition. So like I was like jumping from one place to another. Other times I feel like I didn't have much control on it, meaning that I didn't know how long it would last, despite me like putting all the effort and trying to align with what you're told to be doing during these periods. But I also did courses, I developed new skills, I got into project management, for example. And well, now as some like you two may know, I've been more into diversity, equity, and inclusion topics, related topics that are, I mean, connected also with who I am and what I like to be talking about. In a way, I use those periods as to build up new competences, but at the same time, yeah, there was also this underlying anxiety of when it would end. So I must admit, I had both sensations of, okay, let's do something to create something new in this period of transition, and at the same time, I was getting all the human side of and roller coaster of emotions, because especially when it's a long-term unemployment, you're like figuring out what's wrong with you. But yeah, sometimes there's not anything wrong with you, it's just like what you're looking for, or like the places that you send your applications might not be aligned with who you are and what you can give. So that's why it's not working out. But eventually it will work out.
Yeah, but you just said it all. Just love your mindset. Came out of experience, I believe. But
It
yeah,
does. It
that's.
did.
I think that's the way to go. Really, that's the way to go. Like keep moving. Don't just cross your arms and wait for a miracle to fall from the sky. I mean, it doesn't work like that. But what about you, Sego? You were a little luckier than us in this sense.
I was really excited and can I relieve all the anxiety that I had because we just moved into another country and you kinda need money to live in another country because you don't have any family member or anything. If something bad happened, you need something to fall on. And I also so my partner already had a job and I really do believe into financial independence in a couple for it to be fair. And so I really was glad as well for this reason to have found a job because he didn't have to have all the financial struggle on his weight. I could buy my liberty as well in buy things that I like without having to ask him. So yeah, it was really a weight lifted off my shoulder. Got lucky that it happened quickly, so I didn't have to be that stressed out.
I get it. And it's so important also because you feel like you depend only on yourself, right? So you perhaps feel like an extra pressure to find something more stable and you can start planning your life ahead, not just holidays, but like everything you still want to do. So I get it. And like you, happy for you. Now you have your house, you're both stable. Yeah, happy. That's great. But in my case, I had mixed feelings. Honestly, um, even when I know deep down that that's not my dream job, I just don't want to restart anywhere else. And what do I mean by restarting? So it's not only about having to put myself out there for the recruiters or dedicate my time to sending applications and going through selection processes, and nor is it limited to going through onboarding and getting to know new colleagues and adapting to a new work environment when you actually get the job. I mean, when you're a foreigner, restarting can actually mean moving out again. So it can be very scary. And I guess I went through all the stages. Like, first, I refused to believe. Then I cried. And then, surprisingly, I felt super relieved and even happier because that job was not my responsibility anymore. And that wasn't my dream job anyway. And I finally had time to manage my schedule according to my own wants and needs. But we've all probably heard that looking for a job is a job, right? So you spend time preparing a tailored CV and cover letter, then send a well crafted application to an organization that may or may not be interested in you. It is even common to receive more no's than yeses, especially in highly competitive environments. Even though it isn't your fault, have you ever found yourself taking the blame? Have you ever felt like you were the problem or that you were not good enough? What did you do to talk yourself out of it?
I feel really often like I'm not good enough, I'm not doing the job well enough or anything. I think I have a bit sometimes of an imposter syndrome, but then it all changed. I need to find, so I did a couple of sessions of with a therapist, and she told me something that kind of changed my mind, is that the difference between men and women when they apply for a job, the woman wants to have all the criteria and all the qualities they ask, but the men then one or two just, okay, I'm gonna go for it. And so I think we're just too hard on ourselves, and sometimes we should just have more audacity and just wing it sometimes and just try for something. And it cannot change my way of viewing things, that maybe I learned by the society that I'm not good enough when it's not true. Maybe I need more than my counterparts, men, to do the same job when it's not true.
Yes, I did feel like I wasn't good enough, especially like 3 years ago, where I was like constantly, I don't know, I was getting quite a few interviews. It was right after my European Parliament experience, so I had this prestige, let's say, tag attached to it. Like, oh, she made it to that, which was one of my dreams, by the way, to do an experience at the Parliament. So I'm glad that I already succeeded it. However, that wasn't sufficient to get where I wanted. And also, to be fair, I didn't have clarity back then. So it was more like I know that I have field of expertise, but I didn't know where to channel it because I've always used it as a mix of like I can work in tech, I can work in something else, you know, I can apply what I've studied into other fields, which is something I do believe like non-linear career paths are a thing and they should be acknowledged and they should be recognized as something that we can transfer skills from rather than like to fit in a rigid box. But that's my view on it. And so I did feel I was not good enough back then. And then, I don't know, after the recent experiences, I was like, okay, maybe this thing is not 100% what I'm looking for, but I can transfer this skill that I've learned in the past into this thing. And then, besides, people have told me that I am good at, I don't know, coaching them or like giving them advice or anything. Like, I've noticed something that was recurring in my personal life and professional life as well. So I thought, okay, I could use it to reach where I want to be. And maybe I will be reaching that goal of creating safe, inclusive spaces for everyone. I'm on the way to do it. I will see when it happens, when the right match happens. But for now, I have it clear in mind that this is my goal. And this would have never happened without me, let's say, doubting myself in a way. And but it, more than doubting is more, I take it as reframing of oneself.
I get it, I relate, and I'm also glad that you managed to have this clarity. I mean, I think we need to be a little bit in the dark so we can find clarity in our lives. And to me, sure, for sure. So, regardless of the amount of or even the quality of the applications that I might have scar-faced in my life, I have already felt that perhaps the problem was me. And I think that's especially when you're trying to find a job right after graduation, right? And although I consider myself a confident person and I'm very aware of my qualifications, no one likes to feel rejected. But you can take the rejection also in a good way. So you kind of force yourself to keep qualifying, to keep improving, and most importantly, to keep moving forward, right? So, what do I do to talk myself out of it? Well, first, I remind myself that most things are not entirely in my control. So, no matter how good I may be, I'm not the one extending a placement offer to myself at the end of the day. And there are so many variables involved. I mean, sometimes you simply have to accept that at that moment specifically, it wasn't meant to be. And it's also important to learn how to lose. I mean, you know your worth, but you need to stay humble enough to recognize that there will always be people who are just as qualified or even more so, right? So use that as an inspiration to keep improving instead of pitying yourself for not making it. And second, I like to remind myself that if I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, I should keep pushing forward. Like little by little, I know that I'm making progress and getting closer to where I dream of being. But sometimes we kind of romanticize our jobs a lot. I've done that so much in the past. So, ladies, I was wondering, have you already found your dream job? And in case you haven't, how do you really envisage it?
I think I talked about my job so much in other episodes, so you know it's not my dream job.
I just hope your boss is never listening to
Yeah, but I
any of
think
our episodes.
honestly, I don't think many of my colleagues, it's their dream job is such a job to pay bills because we kind of have to work. So my dream job would be like in film. So acting, writing, directing, producing, anything. And the thing is that acting is quite hard because I still have a strong French accent and I live in Ireland. So I'm kind of creating my own opportunities with friends and writing my own stuff so I can play. And I think for everything else as well, I'm creating my own company. So I'm kind of creating an opportunity for myself. So it might take longer. This company, production company, will grow and will be able to give me the freedom that I need. And so to quit my day job. And I hope to give other people the freedom to quit their day job so they can focus on the creative side as well. It's kind of the goal. Kind of want to take all my friends, the creative friends that have to have a day job because they need bills to pay and they have kids to raise, and take them with me and go full creative.
I think that's amazing, really. I think, well, I can totally relate, but I will first, I would like to hear from Sylvia.
Well, for me, like, I think my dream job hasn't been totally created yet. I mean, I would like to work in the editorial sector. Like, I love books so much, but at the same time, I do love people as well. Not everyone, but like a good bunch of people. A bunch of people. Have to be honest.
She loves you, listeners. Don't worry.
If I had to be concrete on which kind of where the kind of direction that I want to give it now, it would be more like team leader or project manager or like the two at the same time. Why not? I've had earlier in my career somebody that made the difference. She was like a team leader for the first time ever, but I felt like she was going into the right direction. And thinking about it in retrospect after so many years, I was like, well, she was really a model of inspiration for me, and I kind of want to be the same way because I think I'm good at supporting people, and I have a goal that, I want everyone to feel aligned, motivated, but also safe, because I didn't feel safe in some environments, work environments that I was, and I want to create my little change, whether it's going to be in a small company, big company, whatever it's going to be, it doesn't matter, but that's my goal. And yeah, for the creative part, I'm staying on this podcast and I'm still writing stories, of course. If I could clone myself and work half in editorial, half doing whatever I want to be doing right now, that would be amazing, but it isn't possible.
I get it. No, but one thing you said very well. I mean, I think you're great at supporting people, and I don't say this only because of the podcast. Like having lived with you and being your friend, I know, like, I give you my check.
Reference. LinkedIn
And
reference check.
now
Free.
yeah, French check. What did I make a certificate? Certificate of quality.
Certificate of
Whatever it is.
excellence. I
Yeah,
certify.
to make you get there. And it's nice that you said that you found someone that you use as some sort of model, because it's this kind of person that you should, in case you haven't, reach out. And I'm not saying that you need to copy and paste her path, because it's not how it should work for anyone. But at the very least, understand what were your struggles and learn from them. Because one thing is just like stalking the person and figuring out, oh, she studied there and she learned those languages and then she went from this company to this company. And the other thing is like having a 5 minute talk and understand, like, okay, if you were to give you an advice for a old version of yourself, what would that be? So if you have this contact, like, really, it's really in your best interest to use it. Well, in my case, I can totally relate to you, Sego. I'm really starting to believe that my dream job is not, it's like really nowhere to be found, because I am in the process of creating it. And although entrepreneurship is not really a thing in Brussels, perhaps that is my path. So I see what I am creating, the iTalk project, as a hub to share critical thoughts about diverse topics. They are mostly related to the European Union institutions, and aiming at creating a relevant outcome when it comes to researching, and at the end of the day, also a positive impact on other people's lives. That's also important to me. But ladies, that was lovely. Our episode is ending. Final thoughts to share with our listeners?
I don't know if this stigma exists in our country, but in France, I remember there was a really big stigma on employment, like people that don't work are lazy, and I think it's really counterproductive. Especially now, there is like I don't, in my company there were a lot of layoff, and I know that several people had struggles to find another job, and it's really a lot of anxiety. It's just the climate that is like that. So I think it's important to change how people view unemployed people as well. So it's not as stressful and you can talk more about it. Because I remember sometime when you're unemployed, you don't want to say it to your friends or your family because you're afraid it will judge you. So I think it's important to fight the stigma as well.
I would like to make an official announcement, public announcement, which is, if you know anyone that is unemployed, that was your past colleague, that is your close friend, or is even just a friend, just fucking help them. Like, they need a community, because when they are unemployed, especially we are in a society that equals work with our identities, but they're a bit separate. The thing is, because we work 40, usually, at least in Europe, 40 hours per week, we spend the majority of our time at work. So, work undeniably becomes a part of our identity, but it's not just that. So, if you have anyone that you know is unemployed at the moment, or that will probably face a layoff, not because they're like a bad work or anything, it's just they frame it as company restructuring, just fucking help them. Like, build a community, stay with them, just, checking in, like, send job ads that you can find. Like, even like you can do a job search together, like you can sit in a room next to each other and, like, okay, let me help you. Or you, if you know anyone that works in HR, just forward them your friend's CV, like, do something, because otherwise, like, we keep the stigma going, as Sego was mentioning, and we're not helping the system uncrust itself from how it was and it's always been, because we are keeping the things the same way that they are, and we're not doing anything active to change them. And we should really like focus our society to have a radical shift from individualistic approach to more collective ones, because we are honestly otherwise fucked. That's my announcement.
I think your announcement was really relevant, and if you really have real friends, they should be doing that. Especially when your family is so far away. I mean, your friends become kind of your family, and it's not just about checking in, but sometimes just sending a job offer that you saw anywhere, even if you're not sure if the person will like it or be gonna fulfill all the requirements. It just, you saw and you said like, this can be helpful, but it's gonna be for up to her to decide at the end of the day if she actually wants to apply or not. But it's the gesture, like, I'm doing what I can to take you out of the situation. And for the other person it might not mean much, but for those who are unemployed it means a lot. And also remind them that they are not alone. So I get it. Very, very important that you said that, Sylvia. And in my case, I would say that a great progress, it is still moving forward. So let go of the feeling that you are not enough or that you're stuck. I guess we're all just becoming in a way. And the process of becoming will get you ready so you can take over the position you've always dreamed of or even created. And please don't forget to focus on your path and your path only. It's unique and there is really no traffic when you run at your own pace. All right, that's all for today, and see you at the next episode.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.